What's the year on that, if you can recall?
Okay, it would have been about 65.
Okay. So
66 maybe.
Let me ask you, you were at Syracuse from 61 to 65.
That's right.
So these were songs you were writing in college and, you know, were sending downtown?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
What, who's the producer on that, or the arranger? I know you said that on the last one,
It was
somebody, yeah. Same for this one?
No, this would be Bud Renault, who has been a Nashville producer for several decades now. Sort of a guy I played with in a group called the Vikings, I think at one point. That was in the late 50s. So, Bud did that. Bud was a guy that at one point, I think in 66 or 7, took me to he was supposed to take me to Motown, and we flew there, and when we got there, stopped at somebody's house, and they had this little studio in the basement, and we did some things, and it turned out that was it, you know, and I was kind of upset. And we didn't get to Motown. It was a few years later when I found out that was Motown. So.
The labels always look so much bigger.
Yes.
So, so that's something, it's another one that was recorded. There's some other stuff too that you were saying that out as singles, almost demos. They come out as white label.
Yes, everything is so obscure that it's, you know, I'm going to have to do some work on that, and actually try to see if the record still exists. But I haven't seen them online yet. So.
Yeah. Well, this one here, I think we pulled off, considered a Northern Soul.
Yes.
Hit with some folks.
That's what they say.
So Tommy Sears, Get Out. We also heard from the Wild Angel record, 1976, Dominating Force.
That's right.
That one, you were using backing musicians, guys who worked with for that record.
Yes, yes, it was a great band at that point. Yes.
You know, just because this is the record that I know you by, do you want to talk about this one a little bit?
Sure.
Okay, so 1976, probably. You know, you seem to Lou put the group together for you.
Well, yeah, I was in San Francisco at that time, and I had an incredible demo tape that I got RCA interested in, and things were cooking, and I actually signed with the label, and I needed a producer who wouldn't produce, you know, because my ideas are maybe a little difficult for a conventional producer to really get into. So, after looking for a producer for about a year, talking to Lou, and he knew the frustration I was having, I said, well, you know, I tried being the producer. I said, yeah, that's great, Lou, you'll be the greatest producer for that. So, we wound up doing this album at Media Sound up on 50, where was that place?
57th, yeah, and 8th Avenue.
And again, I was, let's see, I was living in San Francisco at that time. And if you'll forgive my lisp, I'm having some dental work done. I don't always quite slur or what's called lisping as much.
That's okay. You hear it more in the headphones.
Okay, great. Great, folks. And now, where were we?
San Francisco.
Yeah, I was in San Francisco at that time, and
were you working with a group of musicians out there?
Oh, absolutely, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
But our stuff was not very commercial at that point. In fact, it was similar to some of the things you've been playing earlier, what they call experimental noise,
right.
Sort of things then. And you know, my crowd in San Francisco, folks, I want you to know, we were not, anybody I knew in San Francisco was into groups like Airplane or Starship or Eddie Money or out of San Francisco, but that's not what was actually going on there. We had much more eclectic, and I think, to my thinking at the time, I think what was called the punk movement and the alternative movement, to me, it was actually stronger in San Francisco than anywhere else in the country.
Right. And you, were you ever involved with any bands from back then?
But you'd have heard of them?
Yeah, well, yeah, or you know, maybe some of our listeners have heard of.
Let's see, Wedding Circus. As I said, the Portable Storm was very early. Let's see, the Nonchalance, the Art Sharks. Yeah, I could go on with the names, but
it almost sounds like bands that were doing music before the idea of the punk 45 really became like, you know, the medium for the music to get like, you know, spread around the country and the world. So
yes, there was a group of us that were trying to do something new, and wasn't fitting in with the clubs that existed then, and that sort of crowd managed to get a restaurant nightclub in North Beach, San Francisco, to let us come in and generate some interest there. It was something crazy. Started out with a coffin that we built, and we put all the rock and roll that had been played up to that point, and which was really dominating the airwaves, the FM. It was the FM days, and we took those records and put them in the coffin and walk up to the middle and walked across the Bay Bridge, or a ways up on the Bay Bridge, and threw that into the San Francisco Bay, and then got back to trying to make something new. And that started in the Buhay Gardens, which became the Fab Mab. And I was, you know, the big deal there. But as often happens, the groups, I was always looking for groups that were totally new and didn't know how to play their instruments, and had never played before to open for me. So I had people like the Avengers. Their first show was opening for me, as you may see on their compilation. They actually list that. I was proud to see.
Okay.
And there are many others that.
How about Crime? Were Crime around?
And Crime was there.
Yeah.
Yes. We hung out. Yes, they. I knew them from their previous incarnation, which is, excuse me, 12-inch platforms and glam hair.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, and then
it was a step that everybody had to.
Yes.
To, on the West Coast.
Yes. And after go down all the groups, the Nuns, the Dills. Oh man, a lot of groups you hadn't heard of.
Oh, I don't know. I'm following you so far. But,
okay, let's see. About that time,
how about the Units? Were the Units?
That's right. Yes.
Okay.
MX80 Sound. Just thought of.
Yeah.
Tuxedo Moon. Boy, don't get me started.
Right.
So yeah, that was a great. It was a great scene. I got